for me. Didn't we all? The photograph album she takes from the closet and slowly turns the page. Carefully picks up the crumbling flower, the first one he gave her, now withered with age. She closes her eyes and touches the house dress that suddenly disappears. And just for the moment she's wearing the gown that broke all their minds back so many years. Such are the dreams of the everyday housewife you see everywhere any time of the day. An everyday housewife who gave up the good luck for me. An everyday housewife who gave up the good life for me.
Len Campbell, special song, beautiful song. I requested, I dedicated, I played this one to all of our beautiful, beautiful housewives all around St. Lucia. And I hope you are having a beautiful morning. You are such a special, special piece of the family, all of the house, not just the housewives, the house ladies as well. They also take care of everything that is happening in our beautiful households. All right, St. Lucia, it is at 10 o'clock, and we want to say a special good morning to you. We, as always, every Wednesday, we have our program with our two honorable statesmen, and thank you for tuning in. One of our statesmen is already in studio, Mr. Peter Josie, so we're going to get the program on the way. Sir Michael is on his way, so we will start our program, and good morning to you, Mr. Peter. How are you, sir?
I don't know why you call me Mr. Peter one day.
Well, that's your name. One day is Josie, one day is Peter.
No. You see, in my politics, from the beginning and up to now, it's brother.
Oh, brother Josie. So you want to maintain that?
We are all brothers.
Well, I always call everyone brother.
Exactly, and you're a Christian person.
You know, what I'm doing here is I am already trying to get myself on par or align myself when you become the Governor General, the next one that is, so when I come up to Government House to say, good morning, sir, good morning to
well,
not that we're pushing some...
I always maintain, Champagne, by the grace of God,
yes,
anything is possible.
That is true.
And that has always been the person that I work with. That is why I've been fearless in my politics.
Yes.
No man or woman can touch me once God is with me.
Amen to that.
I don't say it often, and I haven't said it sufficiently often in the past.
Yeah.
But I have survived, and I'm stronger than a lot of people who started with me, and for one reason or the other, are on the side.
Yeah.
Had nothing to do with me.
Right. It's a great
Only
God.
by the grace of God I'm here today. Recently, as you know, 2 weeks ago, I had a little health issue. That is something I hardly ever had. And I lost a lot of blood, Champagne.
Yeah.
I got weak and I said, boy, what is happening to me? So I had to be rebuilding my body. Right now, I would say I'm 95%.
Oh, that's great.
Where
on your way back.
Where I want to be.
That's great.
Right?
That's great.
Imagine my sister, my daughter have to be cooking special food for me to build back my blood.
That is good. That
and
is
of
good.
course, my doctors gave me special iron tablets, etc.
Yeah. So you don't walk. You don't walk on mornings.
But I feel well.
I'm taking that chair.
Right. It's here. It's here. It's over here.
Sorry.
I have not been able to walk on mornings as such. I do a little, but not what I'm used to doing.
Give me a minute.
Yeah, sure. Don't shift anything.
Yeah. You all on the air already?
We just getting started.
Right.
This is the new guy who's going to be doing the camera.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Michael, how are you?
Okay, so we're just sorry for that short interruption. So Michael just walked in and we had to get some special stuff. But Peter, I wanted to ask you something now that you went down that road. how many of the people that were around you during your labor times from 79 that are still around?
Plenty.
Really?
Oh, that is still around.
That are still around?
Yeah,
I
but
mean, still alive.
You don't hear them, you don't see them. The old stalwarts have gone, like
Yeah.
the Kenneth Fosters.
Right.
I actually joined when Kenneth was leader of the party. And to his credit, Kenneth was one of the few persons who said, Peter, listen, you're a young fella, and we need some workers in this party. You know what I would like you to do? I want you to be secretary of the Labour Party. Don't let anybody say, don't look for political deputy. You understand?
Yeah.
And when I look back, I said, well, I think
That's going to be a topic today.
I think Kenneth might have been correct, you know. But some of the old guys are gone.
Everybody.
George Murray, these guys that came to meet there.
Yes.
George Charles was no longer a member. He had actually left the Labour Party. And sometimes when I think of George Charles, people make it look as if I was the worst thing that happened to the Labour Party because I left. George Charles was a founding father. And he left. So who am I couldn't live?
Yeah.
Who am I couldn't live? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you're
But,
the last existing.
Like the George Odlums and the people like that, the Frances Michel. Okay? Evans Calderon is still around. He went to all the constitutional talks.
Yeah. Give me 1 minute.
Alan Louisi became leader after Foster.
Yeah.
Bruce Williams. Okay?
Yeah.
Bruce Williams. Winston Snack. You know, the elder brother of the Governor General.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, I was younger than all of them, I have to tell you. But all of these guys have gone to the great
Way
beyond.
beyond. All right. So you're the last charade, like what they say, the last.
I wouldn't say so, but I'm the only active
The
person.
only active. Okay, beautiful. All right, callers, those of you who continue to call, we are into our program as we have been doing for the last few months every Wednesday. So your calls will not be answered at the phone-in period when we open up the lines at about 11 o'clock. Sir Michael is there. Sir Michael, good morning to you, sir.
Morning, Mr. Champagne. How are you today, sir?
Looking bright as always. How are you doing?
I'm very well. I had a good rest last night.
Oh,
so
that
I
is
feel
good.
On top of the world this morning.
That is good news.
Yeah.
Well, we want to get right into things, and I want to start somewhere because I see I have two newspapers here. One, the Saturday, May 8th, it says National Trust takes government to court. And we have this one there, Survey on Carbon Development rejected by SLNT and AHS.
Yeah.
Now, let me start somewhere. I want to start somewhere with you. The National Trust took the government to court for the demolition of the old prisons. We don't want to go into carbon yet. We're going to get back to that. And there was, I don't know if there was a judgment, there was an agreement between the National Trust and the government. But 1 year later, the National Trust is taking the government back to court again. What are you hearing on that?
Okay.
What is the reason for that?
You know, it's so funny, Champagne. I didn't know this would have made the headlines today. So it gives me more, it adds more importance that I should talk about it today.
Yeah.
In my preamble, I addressed it.
Yes.
And I have a lot to say about it.
Okay.
However, when the matter went to court, which was a silly matter to have done, there was a clause that no matter what arrangement was reached, government had the final say.
Right.
Okay? It was there. It was encumbered into the judgment. Okay?
Right.
So, really and truly, the government owned the property. They went to court. Everybody aired their views. The judge told them, look at me. You all are two grown-up people. Go and sort out your differences.
Right.
You have a government in charge. Now, in my preamble, what I want to highlight is a very, very important factor. The United Workers' Party and the St. Lucia Labour Party together control the voting in St. Lucia.
Yeah, the
because
governance.
they,
Yes.
the people, have chosen,
Yes.
it's because it's split 50-50.
Yes.
And both governments agreed that that building should be broken down.
Both of them.
And more importantly, the British authorities who visited Kenny Anthony said to him that that building should be demolished. And Kenny Anthony agreed so much. He said no to it should be dynamited.
Yes, he was referring to a
So
statement that had
there
been
you
made
have
before.
two administrations concurring what should be done. The National Trust is just a statutory body, okay, with a handful of people. Who do they represent? They're put there by the government, and the very governments that put them there, both the United Workers' Party and the St. Lucia Labour Party, have agreed that this was not a place for that. Champagne. St. Lucians tend to forget many, many things. I've told you repeatedly, over and over, I'm an individual. I have a very curious mind. Aesthetics mean a lot to me. It used to hurt my heart to walk in front of that and see grass growing, dirty, a container in a road where they put stuff that has been seized to go to the court. In a city.
In a city.
3 acres, Champion. Valued at $27 million in land. An asset to the state. Doing nothing.
Yeah.
After 18 years, I went into that place. I'm not ashamed to say it. I personally went into that place. I looked around. I was appalled what I saw. Appalled. There were at least 20 to 30 people living in the cells. I spoke to the guys.
And they were not prisoners, eh?
Come again?
And they were not prisoners. They were just guys.
No, just
Yeah.
guys. One guy told me he'd been there for 10 years. He took me into his cell. He had a cupboard with his clothes. He had his ID card. And even though he was doing something wrong, but he gave me a lot of information.
Also, you were saying those people were prisoners? They went in?
Sorry?
Were they prisoners or
No. Yeah, people
that were
living there
vagrants,
after-
people that
after- as a place to live.
Yes, that's
About
right.
20 people
Homeless
living
people.
there.
Homeless
but
people,
that's
yes.
one guy I spoke to who had actually living there. He used to get dressed and go do his work in there. He told me, he said, let me tell you something. In this complex now, he called it a complex.
Yes.
You have people like him who were law-abiding people who just lived there because they didn't have a home.
Yes.
There was another guy who had a place where he dealt in drugs. They would have their drugs there and they would dispose of it, and that was their headquarters.
Yes.
There was another guy who ran a brothel. They used to bring young girls
Yes.
there. Okay? Right.
Yes.
So, and there was another group that when stuff was stolen in the city, they would put it there, leave it there for a few days, and then gradually take it out.
Right.
Now, I'm asking a question. People of the National Trust, if they were so intent on helping St. Lucia, the same way I found that out,
Yeah.
could they not have found it out before me?
I agree.
Now, I didn't let it stay there, Champagne. What I did, I then went to the Commissioner of Police. I'm talking 2.5 years ago, and asked him whether he could allow 30 inmates to come in and clean up the place, which he did. And I stayed there for 2 days, I personally, and had the place cleaned up.
Right.
Okay, I won't want to tell you how much mess I found there. Okay, when the decision was made that it should be demolished, I was very pleased about it, and the demolition started. And the rest is history. They came and they put a writ. Now, to me, that's just being nasty, in my opinion, you know. So, this is what it is today, and now the place is demolished. They want to take government to court. Let them go ahead again. The same thing they did, Champagne. They themselves chose someone, a top archaeologist, to come and do the work at Cabot. Okay? The people gave their views. Because they were not happy with it,
with the report.
they're still making a lot of noise. They are poor losers. If in life, we all, Champagne, in life, they are winners and they are losers. No matter what you do.
This is what
you
it
go
is.
to school, there are people that come first and second in their class,
that's
the other
right.
that come down to the bottom.
That's what it is.
That's what life
That's
is all
what it
about.
is.
And
That's
we
what
have
it
to
is.
accept those things.
Yeah.
When we go to a court and the judge makes a decision, are we going to tell the judge, no, I'm not happy with what you go? You can appeal.
Unless if you want
It's
to
true,
appeal.
you can appeal.
Yeah.
But basically, I mean,
So is this what they're doing there? Are they appealing the case, or they're not satisfied with
no,
the
that's
agreement?
a whole new case completely.
A whole new case?
Yeah, what they bring in, they're now suing for poor judgment and loss of earnings or
Lots of earnings.
I tell you something,
What
it was
kind of
earning
earnings?
nothing.
What were they earning?
Yeah, you know, or when I say loss of earning, they felt that if they had it there, they would get people to come in and. Who the hell is going to go there?
And
You
the
know, they were
criminal
trying to
activity,
compare
yeah.
that thing to Robben Island. There's no Mandela, and this is not South Africa. South Africa is an international country, okay, that you have people there. And that's what the British people told them. What took place there was hideous. They don't even want to think of this thing. There are certain things you want to bury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Peter, when you hear about these things, you hear an arm of a government, or you hear an organization that that is supposed to work alongside with the government or under the government, continue to stop progress or production by the government in taking them into court with a property that was a hazard, if you will, with criminal activity, and you hear this thing is surfacing again. What comes to mind?
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind, Champagne, is that I thank God that I'm not part of the government. I'm not 30 or 40 years younger, because I consider this harassment of the government.
I believe that.
The other thing too, if Sir Michael is correct, and I don't see any reason why he shouldn't be, he said that both the former government and this government agreed that the prisons has to go. As a matter of fact, I heard Dr. Anthony make a statement once, quoting the British
Yes.
about it, that prison. What I find strange is that the way I understand the politics of St. Lucia, if Dr. Anthony and the Labour Party were to make a statement now, today, saying, listen, we have had enough back and forth on this prison thing. We had a stand, and the UWP had the same stand. The British had agreed and things, so much so that they even said the place should be dynamite. It is time for these people in the trust to stop harassing the government. I believe the fortunes of the Labour Party and the opposition would climb right away in terms of the average St. Lucian. We can't continue to play this cheap politics.
No.
And I tell you something, I take politics very seriously. I've said 100 times, there's no other profession, in my humble opinion. I don't care what business you're in. I don't care how many millions you have. There's none that is above politics. None about raising your people, raising your country, developing your people. And if I had any say in this present government, that national trust, something would have happened.
I believe that. Absolutely.
I'm telling you.
I believe that.
Because I don't come into politics, as if you are afraid
Very
of
nice, yeah.
And I told you already, once I believe I'm making the right decision, I've prayed over
For
it,
the
and
country.
God is with me.
That's right.
Champagne, that is a lot of baloney.
Yeah.
Let's call it what it is,
I
man.
believe that, sir.
There's certain words I cannot use on air, but your listeners know that this nonsense has to stop.
It has to.
Especially from people who, I would say, don't really belong to St. Lucia. True, some of them have been here a long time. These people do not participate in the normal life of St. Lucia. The government is trying to develop the place
Yes.
to make work for the average St. Lucian. Cabot, I read about the report. You going back to Cabot and harassing the government?
Yes. Can you believe it?
There are some countries in which these people will no longer be alive, Champagne. You know that.
I know.
Your callers know that. And I'll tell you something. Politics is not a pappy show, fly-by-night business. Sometimes you have to put your own life on the line
Yeah.
if
Make
you
a
have to
statement.
develop your country
Yeah.
and send it forward.
I believe that.
And you see, as far as that is concerned, that is the total I have to say about it. I have nothing else to say. Only in a 2x4 little kiss me so and so country would people come
Follow
and
it.
interfere with the
Yes,
government.
I agree with that.
I'm telling you.
I'll ring the bell on that.
And
Yeah.
I don't have no
Yeah.
qualms about it.
I mean, the government.
We have an elections coming. The party that is in opposition was part of destroying the prisons. They could raise their voices on behalf of the people of St.
That's
Lucia
right.
and stop these fly-by-night people who nobody voted for.
That's right.
Nobody knows. You understand?
Because I made
So-
that statement, whether or not the St. Lucian people voted for the National Trust. Because apparently all of the developments the government is trying to put forward, the National Trust has an
They're just
obstacle.
frustrating
They
the
just
government.
try to frustrate the
Everywhere the government
And
turns.
I don't understand that.
Everywhere the government turns.
I don't understand
Everywhere.
it. For example,
Even in the expansion of the Sandals
Yes.
2 or 3 years ago, These guys have gotten in the way. And I believe, you know, I repeat it, I will not say it after today. I believe it's because the Prime Minister is too much of a gentleman.
Yeah.
That might be our problem.
Maybe. So, Michael, we see that we hear the National Trust continue to say we are not involved with politics. We are not about politics.
Yeah.
They lie.
But then when you look at the people that are on the board or on the executive, 90% of those people are literally involved with the Labour Party.
But definitely.
So what does that tell you?
Because they're lying to
Yeah.
us. You think they'd come and tell you the truth?
You see, these guys, they don't have a voice on their own, so they use the trust as a vehicle to come forward, that some people respect the trust for what it should have been.
Yeah.
It's not that they don't have a voice, Sir Alan, Sir Michael. It's that they're nothing. They are nothing. The trust is all they have to hold on to. People don't know them. Nobody is going to vote for any of these people on any board.
Yes.
So they are nothing in the society. And they cannot continue to operate as if they are nothing, knowing that they are nothing. That is what it is. They're looking for value, for valet. They're looking for people to big them up.
Yeah.
But they are nothing.
I mean, so Michael said he went there personally. He saw a guy operating a brothel. He saw drugs activity in there. He saw stolen items in there. People were there like it is there.
Yeah.
And you're
For
saying to
18
me,
years,
18
Champagne.
years.
For 18 years.
18 years.
Not 18 days. 18 years.
I mean, how?
And you know how many,
In the
you know how
middle of
many
the city.
governments we had in that
And
time?
tell you
Look,
something.
3 or 4.
Now, if you had St. Lucia at heart, and you walk there and see how disgraceful the place was
In a city.
in a city,
In a city.
and even looking at the value of it, but let's leave the value aside of 27 million,
Yes.
okay? When that place is finished, can people just consider what the aesthetics of the city will change tremendously? It raises the profile of a city. We are no longer want to be a third world. We have to aspire to elevate ourselves.
That's right.
You know what the National Trust reminds me of? In the old colonial days, the colonial masters, whether they be French or Hispanic or English, they sucked all the juice out of the economy of these places. And every Empire Day, they dress you up as a school child with a Union Jack and things so, and give you a raw cake and a soft drink.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? So these guys now, trying to give us a soft drink and things and make us believe that they are supporting us. All they are doing is imitating the foolishness of the colonial past. We don't need these people in our lives.
I don't think we do based on the way that they're operating.
That is why we vote for government. The
Yeah.
government should ban these people, have a structure in place within the Ministry of Tourism or
Well-
National Development or thereabouts, and put the position of chairman as equivalent to a permanent secretary
Yes.
or deputy permanent secretary, and let these guys take care of the development of these
I've been
sites.
preaching that, Brother Peter. I have been preaching that. This is what I've been preaching for a few months now. Why is it that we continue to, not we, the government is continue to be harassed by a group of people that wants to see nothing good for the country? Nothing good. I mean, you have a place that is in that kind of a condition. A government is putting a beautiful building to house the police.
Precisely.
An important arm of the government and the people of this country.
Champagne, you know something?
Anyway.
It's so important what you just said.
Anyway.
Let me just read only one paragraph
Yes.
of my preamble, which has to do with this thing.
Right.
Okay. We were appalled by the latest decision of the National Trust to institute legal proceedings against the government for seeking to restore a sense of patriotism and respect to the 1,200 police officers who toil 24 hours each day to protect the nation from the adversities of crime. Regardless of any technicalities included in their lawsuit, the nation should not lose sight that both the SLP and UW administrations were on the same page regarding the tearing down of the old prison, but more importantly, the British who constructed the prison advised the nation that the structures should be torn down based on their hideous and humiliating past, and above all, to enhance the aesthetics of the city. Now, you know, I mean, my goodness, what more can you want? how can anybody in their right mind not accept the fact that to get rid of this nonsense, put a proper place for the police?
Yes.
I mean, you have 5 or 6 locations for the police at this time.
They're scattered all over the way.
Right? So that's one aspect of it, Champagne. And I really hope that the trust, I don't know if they have the capabilities of even thinking for themselves. There are over 40 sites in St. Lucia that are crying for help, Champagne.
They're not concerned about
You go to Choiseul, you have all those sugar mills.
That's right, they're still there.
You have so many areas.
There's a lot of
there.
tunnels from the
The
war.
Prime
the
Minister
army.
has told the trust already, despite what they say about him, he was willing to help them if they go in the right direction. He made an analysis, Champagne. In 20 years that the Jazz Festival had been taking place there, it costs $2 million every year to build a structure and take it down. So 20 years by 2 is $40 million
Yeah.
that has gone into the wind. When they could have taken $2 million, created a nice structure and have it there, use it
Yeah.
for other things
Other things.
and have their job.
Yes, yeah.
They're not thinking,
They're
Champagne.
not thinking.
Yeah.
They're not
They are
thinking.
not thinking.
Yeah, and you-
They are set up paper pushers who want to create like a government organization there
Yeah.
to wheel and deal, and
Between
all
the-
of them are losers.
between various governments.
All of them are losers
That,
inside there.
that's the word. They're lazy and they're losers.
You
And
made a
don't need
statement.
these people.
You made a statement earlier, and some people may look at it, but that was a strong statement. Because when you said that our Prime Minister has been too much of a gentleman in that regard, now I know he's a tough individual, but he's a nice guy as well. But under the Dr. Anthony administration, we heard of La Paradille. The National Trust had the right to say, don't go into there because that place is reserved property. We heard about the Piton, under the Piton. National Trust didn't say a word. So it is as if the National Trust only has a voice when the UWP government is in power.
Well,
So is
Champagne-
there a fear by Dr. Kenny Anthony to these guys?
Champagne, the greatest corn game that was played in St. Lucia was played in 1997 when the Banana people got together and the Labour Party on the hunt joined them. You know what they call la besoin tout fait? When you come,
Yes,
you
come in
didn't-
and
you
get
didn't
something.
work,
Yeah,
you bake, people bake the cake and things so on.
yeah. And you eating it.
And Anthony just came to meet that cake there.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something. People who know me, and I ran against him in 97 in Vieux-Fort, know that I've never regarded Anthony as a person who will help St. Lucia. Never.
You've said that.
I've never trusted him. And you see the thing Norbert mentioned last night
Yes.
about getting the commissioners and,
Yes,
and the
yes,
high-ranking
yes.
officers.
Yes.
That is the kind of thing he would
Yes,
do. I
aye.
know that.
Yes.
The impacts report, that Manger Cochon, I listened to the time when he addressed it. And this poor DPP didn't see the report until a year after.
Yes.
That is the kind of thing that this guy would do.
Aye.
That's not a positive thing that he has brought to bring St. Lucia forward. Today, all of them are calling about election. Call
Yes.
elections. When is the date? You had a 16-1 mandate,
Yes.
majority. You are supposed to be a constitutional lawyer. St. Lucians were crying to have a fixed date for elections and other things. Up to
Yes.
today, elections are due before the end of this year, I would say. Right?
Yes.
Nobody knows the date. Whereas you had it in your hands to change all that. All you did was make a pappy show, a mess. I fail to understand, Champagne,
Yeah.
why anybody with any intelligence thinks that Dr. Anthony is of any positive value to St. Lucia, or has been. When he lost office after 10 years, some people at Vieux-Fort got together, business people, and
Yeah.
gave him a car.
Yes.
His
That's
former
it.
attorney general
That's right.
came in on a Rick Wayne program and said, boy, he must declare it. Has anybody followed up and found out who were the people, how much the car cost? If it was somebody else, even the National Trust would be asking questions.
Yeah.
You see the point I'm trying to
I
make?
get the point, and I have the report there.
So,
too.
so
I'll
you
read
know, we have our own prejudices. And I will not go on the color thing. I will not say anything except that it look like people are afraid of lawyers when they have big degree in law. Right? You cannot pass your country into the hands of untried men and women and allow them to do what they want.
Yeah.
You cannot do that. Somebody has to stand up and speak out loudly, sufficiently loudly.
So, Michael, you think that the government did not speak loudly? They didn't speak loudly after the first judgment in regards to the prison.
Regarding what?
In regards to the first judgment or decision that was passed by the courts. Because if there was some form of enforcement, maybe this other court case would not have come up. Now, I want to say something else, Brother Peter just highlighted that. Had it been Dr. Anthony, and I'm not putting our Prime Minister on the side of anything, but Peter just
say what you have to say,
I'm saying what I think is I should say. Had it been Dr. Kenny Anthony, after that first judgment, there would not have been that second court case. If you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. You know.
Now, it's not to put our Prime Minister down on the government and thinking that he's not
no,
tough
what
enough.
I understand you to be saying that
Yes.
the court is made up of human beings.
That's right.
And human beings can be biased wherever you find them.
Amen.
I know where you're coming from. Okay. Philip Pierre, in particular, has consistently said that this Prime Minister is vindictive.
Hey,
You've heard it.
I've heard it all the time.
It's a lot of hogwash. Kenny Anthony, in his very quiet way, knows exactly how to put the fear of God in people. Now, that doesn't make you a top leader
guy.
for that. It is the making of the gentleman. He is who he is. Kenny Anthony came in as a constitutional lawyer, working abroad, got the respect of many St. Lucians, including your humble servant.
That's right.
Okay? I'm not prepared to do
No,
that.
of course we know
Okay?
it. We all know it.
And many of us are of the opinion he was the right man to run the country.
At the time.
Okay? Dr. Anthony has done what he has to do. He spent 15 years in power. And besides that, the party hacks on both sides, we have sufficient information on hand to justify the fact that they are not happy with the direction he took the country over the 15 years. So they made a choice and they brought in a United Workers' Party.
Yes.
You have a United Workers' Party who are now faced with a group of people that were, what's the word should I use, when somebody were subservient to Dr. Anthony. A lot of them
Oh, yeah.
got jobs, got contracts, whatever. I mean, these people, so there's a form of dedication.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. Yes.
And those people are still around.
They're still there.
It will take the current administration 2 terms to neutralize those individuals.
Wow.
Because those individuals are still hoping and praying that the Labour Party will come back into power and they'll resume all
All
their
of the powers.
power.
Yes.
And that's the
All of
bottom
that.
line.
And you're
It's-
very right. I
it-
want to ring
yeah,
the bell on
it's
that.
human- it's human nature.
Well explained. This is
It's
what
human
it is.
nature, Champagne.
Because on
So-
the eve of the election, Dr.
Yeah.
Anthony signed all of those people back
Correct.
into certain
So
contracts.
what has happened now, Champagne? The hands of the current Prime Minister are tied because of all that. St. Lucia is a small place. You have all those people who benefited, okay? He had to walk a very tight line, and in my opinion, I have not seen any vindictiveness in this admission.
No,
I have
there's
not
not.
seen it. Okay?
I haven't seen it myself.
The people who say vindictive, I would like them to highlight the areas of victimization
Yeah.
that they are talking about.
Yeah. And they never explained it. They
Yeah.
continue to use the
It's
word.
just
they
like
never
Philip
explained
here
it.
telling you I have it
Yeah.
on my phone.
On my phone.
And
And
not
then he doesn't
putting
have
it out.
anything. Yeah.
Talk is cheap.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think Botai has highlighted that over and over. Okay?
But-
So,
but-
in essence, Champagne, that is what goes on. So, the Prime Minister right now is trying to run the country like a statesman and do things the correct
The
way.
right way, yes.
You want to go to court?
Yeah,
Go to court.
Let's go to court.
You've been defeated with the Cabot lands. You've been defeated with the prisons. Okay?
But are you holding back on the development of the country?
Precisely.
When you do that?
Yeah, you know.
Okay.
But you know something, Champagne? That's one part of it. Okay. I think that is what democracy is all about.
Yes,
We
well.
have any elections coming up shortly. The people of St. Lucia have a choice. They're not fools. They have seen what went on in the past, what has gone on in this administration. They'll make their choice. Once the elections are over, we'll see where St. Lucia is going.
But Josie, if a judge, let's assume that court goes to the same judge, the previous judge, the one before that passed judgment or the agreement. Let's assume that court case goes to that same judge, which I doubt very much. What do you think, you as a judge, what do you think your decisions would be on that second hearing?
Let me tell you something to you. In my opinion of politics, based on Machiavellian power politics, it is 1,000,000 times better for 100 sheep to be led by a lion than for 100 lions to be led by one sheep.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
And Machiavelli described a power politician as one who has to be both a lion and a lamb. You have to know which qualities that are called for at what particular time. When it comes to bending and kissing your people and playing nice and persuading them to take the coronavirus, speak nice to them, speak kindly to them, that's what they have to do.
Yeah.
When people get in your way
Yes,
and
sir.
deliberately don't want to take the
The
vaccine, and getting in the way of the program of health and to rebuild the country, then you take on the image of the lion.
Yes.
And you know what that means.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying.
You know,
Okay.
it's funny that,
Yeah, that's a good point to make.
Peter made a good point there, but it also highlights one of my paragraphs, and I have it,
You
and,
could-
and I want to just read that particular
Yeah, so
paragraph.
you could start off with your preamble if you
No,
want to.
that's okay. I'll do it in sections.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
You see what Peter just said there?
Yeah.
Here's my part of my preamble today. The 75 new positive COVID cases remain of concern to all St. Lucians, but it also remains a stark reminder that clusters will simply increase the spread. Without pointing fingers, there is reason to believe that the recent clusters from the SLP motorcade may, I repeat, may have contributed to the recent spike. The big question remains, what is there to be gained from these demonstrations which cannot be accomplished from virtual meetings? The dangers with this flirtation can bring about needless casualties, as we have witnessed at various troubled areas in the region and further afield. Here at home, we've had an experience of casualties, but some of us continue turning a blind eye to the inevitable. The Prime Minister has consistently highlighted the anticipated ill effects of a COVID spike in an election period. But there are individuals who remain in denial to advance their personal agendas. As a people, we must act with a level of common sense to address the spread whenever and wherever possible. Any escalation will directly affect our economy and, by extension, the hospitality industry, which so far has performed miraculously. Now, since I wrote that, I think it was this morning or last night, I was listening to a talk show, and there were two different people. One gentleman said yesterday he will make sure that all his children and whoever he works for never take the vaccine. Okay? And gave a number of stupid reasons. One of the reasons were they want to get rid of black people in the world. They want to reduce on their sexual ability so they wouldn't have more children. But there's another gentleman who called and highlighted a very important comparison. He said, how many people in the world put tattoos on their skin. Have they ever checked to see what it does? And Norbert Googled that.
The ink
Yeah,
from
Yeah, the ink. And explain to them, you can develop a rash, it gets into your blood. But I'm not decrying a tattoo. I don't put tattoos on my
No, I
body.
don't have any.
But what I'm saying, they have not, and that tattoo was invented by people abroad, just like the vaccine was
That's
done
right.
abroad. Has anybody said, well, the tattoo was being done to screw up people?
Yeah.
So you see, you have on both sides. I will say it's not only in St. Lucia that you have people doing that, but you look at the statistics. This morning I watched.
Yes.
Imagine Champagne. Hospital cases are down 85% between now and March last year. Okay? And so what does that tell you?
Something is working.
Look at the United Kingdom
Oh yeah.
opening up
They
on May the
opened up a lot of
17th.
different-
Okay?
yeah,
Why?
yeah.
Because it has worked.
It has worked.
Okay?
It has worked.
So, I mean, what I'm trying to say, when people talk about, who are those scientists? What are they talking about? I mean, this is incredible. And as Norbert pointed out, he says, look on your arm, how many of you all were going to school that
Yeah,
got
all of
vaccinations
us.
years ago?
All of us
Okay?
got it.
Right?
And we're
But
still
all of
there.
a sudden, yeah. But he also highlighted, the Prime Minister of Antigua said, you're going to have to take that vaccine. You're going to have to making it mandatory, okay?
He's making it mandatory.
Antigua,
Really?
yeah.
I
it's-
saw Ralph Gonzaga has one. I'll play it in a little while.
Yeah,
Where some
you need
people
to
do it
play
work.
that one,
Yeah.
and also the one from Antigua,
Antigua.
because Norbert had it last night. You should try
I
to get
saw
it.
the one from Antigua.
Yeah.
But guess what, Champagne? My agenda in politics has always been the education of the people from all aspects.
Yeah.
Training, raising the intellectual capacity of your people, giving them the ability to think, the ability to do things, to perform technical work, etc., etc., etc. Schools are going to be reopening, okay? Or are opening.
Well, they have been, yeah.
Are opening. Are you saying to me as a government that people who refuse to allow their children to take a vaccine will be allowed in the same classroom, in the same
With
school
those that
as
don't
my
take-
children
Yeah.
who have taken the vaccine?
Yes, exactly.
What kind of policy is that? What kind of thing is that? As far as I'm concerned, I agree with Prime Minister Brown of Antigua. I am the Prime Minister of this country. You have to take the vaccine or vote me out. Cause a revolution. Kill me. Do whatever you have to do with me. But as long as I'm Prime Minister, you're taking the vaccine. Especially if you're a school child.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you believe that there are people who would allow their children not to have the vaccine, to stand in the way of progress, and yet make demands that their children should be at school? So why not open a school for all those who have not been vaccinated?
I'll tell you something,
Wouldn't
Peter.
that be easier?
It would be.
And that's what Norbert told them. That. Here's what he told them very clearly. You cannot leave St. Lucia. You cannot go to the United Kingdom. You cannot go to the States.
No.
But there, you see how it's one-sided? The 1,000 St. Lucians who have been registered to go back on the cruise ships are happily taking the
They're
vaccine.
happy, very happy.
Because,
I have
because
a
they're
2
smart.
second-
Because they're smart.
They
Sean.
are.
Not only smart,
Not just smart,
because
they
they
will not be
know
accepted.
that their job, but they can do it from the cruise lines in Miami, but we cannot do it here.
And they wouldn't be accepted on the
And you
cruise line
have
anyway.
certain people promoting this nonsense in St. Lucia.
But look at what happened after the explosion of the volcano in St. Vincent. The cruise ship that went to evacuate the people.
Yeah.
The captain said, "You're not getting on board if you're not vaccinated."
Correct.
I agree with the captain.
And they wouldn't
So
be
all went back to
working.
their home and they stayed there.
They have to stay if you're not vaccinated.
I agree with the captain.
So listen to what Dr. Ralph
Yes.
Gonzaga had to say. Just
Yes,
about 6
sure.
seconds. A 6-second video.
In order to get back, in order to get back fully to normalcy, you're going to have a situation where people who are working at the ports and the airports would have to be vaccinated. Of course, it's not compulsory, not mandatory, but if you don't vaccinate, you just stay home. And naturally, if you don't work, you don't expect to get paid.
Okay? I will play it again.
In order to get back, in order to get back fully to normalcy, you're going to have a situation where people who are working at the ports and the airports would have to be vaccinated. Of course, it's not compulsory, not mandatory, but if you don't vaccinate, you just stay home. And naturally, if you don't work, you don't expect to get paid.
Now,
Okay, that's another way of putting it,
like the
Mr.
guy
Brown.
yeah, exactly.
If you're not vaccinated, you can't work at the airport. If you don't work, you don't get paid.
That's right.
That's as simple as that.
Very simple.
Maybe it's a better way to say it.
That's a better way to
You
say it.
understand?
That's a better way
Maybe
to
it's
say
a better way to say it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as school. If you want to your children to attend school with other children, make sure they are vaccinated. If
Now-
not, stay home.
Can you imagine if our Prime Minister makes such a statement, knowing what is going on with the SLP supporters? If our Prime Minister makes such
They'll
a
crucify him.
statement, okay? If our Prime Minister makes such a statement, that is going to be on the airways for the whole week. What is going on with us, Brother Josie? What is happening to us as people?
I'll tell you something. I'll tell you something. If the Prime Minister of St. Lucia were to make such a statement, I think he would have grown in the estimation of a lot of St. Lucians, a majority of St. Lucians. Because over the last 5 years, we have seen what this man stands for. We have seen his work. I have never seen in my 50 plus years observing politics and participating in politics so much road works in St. Lucia. Not even in the greatest days of the mighty Sir John Compton
It's true.
had we seen so many road works.
That is a
Rural, everywhere you turn, Champagne, everywhere. And
That is a
plus
fact.
the national development projects like the cul-de-sac bridge, Hiwanora International Airport, the hospital at thing,
Yes,
St.
and
Jude's.
the four-lane highway that is going all
And
out
Rodney
into
Bay.
Rosalie,
Tell you something, the water supply in Beaufort,
the water supply.
from 1.5 million gallons a day to 5 million gallons a day.
Yeah.
And apparently, they're ahead of schedule.
Yeah. We want to go.
A good PRO for the government or the Prime Minister himself. In fact, I'll say something here that I haven't said before. I don't think any spokesman for the Prime Minister of St. Lucia does a better job than the Prime Minister himself when he's talking his projects and talking about the things
Oh
he's
yeah,
doing
the
for
way he
St. Lucia.
explains them. Yeah.
And I believe he can explain himself and say, listen, this is what we have done about the coronavirus. We started so and so and so, we closed down. The slightest opening we had, you saw what happened with the Labour Party march and things so. That shut up. Explain the graft. Some people don't understand simple graft, but explain to them. And if he explains these things to them and say, listen, I have reluctantly come to the conclusion, we know elections are coming, but I have to take a stand. You will have an opportunity to vote me out or vote me in, but we cannot continue with people
It's
deciding,
recklessness.
oh, I'm afraid of that will stop my sex, I can't have children. A lot of baloney that has no legitimacy in science. None. So he will have to make up his mind. And I'm telling you something, there are times when you think you're doing an unpopular thing. No matter how unpopular you may think it is, if you believe wholeheartedly that this is the best thing for the country and you are the leader of the country, you must bite that bullet and take that decision.
Yeah.
You have to.
I agree. So, Michael, we want to shift gears a little bit because we have heard for a number of years that Dr. Anthony has ruled this country with an iron fist. And the news we heard last night by Brother Norbert, I got it on my phone here, regarding the appointment of a police commissioner. Let me read a little bit of that. It says, when Brian Bernard's tenure ended, the occasion arose to appoint a new commissioner of police. It says here, I summon all gazetted officers of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force to a meeting at the conference room of the National Insurance Corporation to discuss the future of the force and its leadership. At that meeting, I requested the officers to vote by secret ballot for their choice of Commissioner of Police to replace Brian Bernard. I distinctly remember that Herman Gill Francis got only one vote. The vote scaled his fate as none of his colleagues save one wanted him to be Commissioner of Police. Now, the word here in that little statement is the I word.
Champagne.
Before you respond to
Yeah.
Michael, and I don't know
Sure,
it.
sure.
The appointment of a police commissioner, is it done by a prime minister or is it done by the Public Service Commission? I want to ask you that, Brother Peter, if you know.
Well, you don't have to ask him because Norbert explained that stuff last night.
Right.
And although I was aware of that, but it never struck me until Norbert spoke about it. The Public Service Commission is the one to do those things.
Right.
You send your credentials and that's how it's done. But the reason why I'm jumping the gun to answer that question,
Yes.
because what I told you 10 minutes ago, I'm going to just elaborate a bit further on it. Dr. Anthony got away with murder in this country.
I believe that.
And I'll tell you why.
I believe that.
Because again, it's all perception. When Dr. Anthony came into St. Lucia, including myself, that's no wrong. Because I looked at a gentleman, respectable in his appearance, respectable in his credentials, respectable on the work he had done abroad. As a result, we expected a hell of a lot from this guy. And what has they just did today? Only he could get away with that. Because it's not to say Dr. Anthony didn't know. He's fully aware of the fact that the Public Service Commission could do that. But in his method of thinking, he felt that was the right way to go. But when we are looking at it with hindsight is 2020. Now that I'm looking at this thing last night, I realize how wrong it has been.
My goodness.
Because how on God's earth can you take some lower rank officers to choose a bus? It doesn't make sense.
And the caller called Mr. Wilford P., I think I recognize the voice, called in to explain that.
Yeah. But let's let me finish off on that.
Yes.
So, what has happened there now? Putting one and one together, that could have been the stick in the mud for the impact situation.
Okay.
Right? Because the very people, I don't know anything about the police force, I'm only a St. Lucian like yourself listening to you, and I'm learning every day.
I'm curious St. Lucian.
What has so what has gone? But maybe Mr. Josie, who was a minister of government, is probably better equipped than me to talk about that.
Champagne, the truth of the matter is that we must not get carried away with the words that were used and the police that were brought together. That is hardly the central point that the jawbone of an ass is trying to express. The central point is that Hermangill Francis is now a thorn in his side in the Beaufort South constituency. And all of that statement was leading to one conclusion, that at that time, among the senior ranks, as himself, Francis was, he didn't get any votes. Whether this is true or not, who is to say? What it tells me as a political person is that Anthony is panicking because Hermangill Francis is now up in his neck.
Yes.
Hermangill Francis is like a virus that in his throat trying to attack his lungs. He doesn't know what to do.
Yes.
So that statement was not about ting and commissioner. We all know that. He knows that better than most of us. He did constitutional law. The point about the whole exercise is the conclusion that Hermangill Francis got only one vote. And who is to tell? Anthony has proven himself to be a pathological liar. Do I have to repeat that? He has had 20 years in the public life of St. Lucia. He lies at every turn. Don't we all know that? People looking at people and calling people all kind of names. People is a joke and a boy when compared to Kenny Anthony and his lies. All Anthony wanted to do was to make Hermangill Francis look bad. But I tell you something, I saw Hermangill on television last night and he conducted himself so clearly, such a logical mind. I say, Hermangill Francis swallowed some logical pills.
Yes, yes.
He spoke so well.
Yes.
And he knew his facts.
Now, all what you're saying in terms of the competitiveness between the two candidates or the two people, you are accurate. But so, Michael, the Public Service Commission has a president or a chairman. There's a board, right? During that time, Dr. Anthony knew that was not the way to go. But he still proceeded in going about that way. the Public Service Commission, until last night, 90% of St. Lucia didn't know
Said
this.
nothing.
No one knew this. So this is where how the man governed.
And they're talking about Lodge. This guy is a secretive, always playing his cards close to his chest. His right hand never knows what his left hand is doing. This is the character of the man. And I'm sorry he had fooled so many people, including Sir Michael. I never had time for this guy.
He fooled Sir
never.
Michael?
Huh?
He fooled Sir Michael?
But Sir Michael had taken Anthony, given him... no, but that is understandable. He came in clean, qualified, a nice guy,
A genuine,
smiling.
yes. Sir Michael saw a nice guy.
I wouldn't use the word fool.
Fool, yes.
No.
Because you know something,
Not
the
fool.
gentleman came in, as I told you, well educated.
And is he Kenyan gentleman?
Okay? And we expected. Now,
Yes,
tell you
all of
something.
us.
Now, in all fairness, I'm not prepared to go that far and say this or that about
The
Dr. Anthony.
yes.
I would say, I want to be fair with people and pass what I call fair judgment.
Right.
I think Dr. Anthony did not have the capabilities to put these things together, to make St. Lucia go forward differently. He may have been educated in certain areas, he had certain ideas, but his ideology did not help. I'm not saying anything against the gentleman.
Right.
His ideology, there are people, Mr. Josie is free to pass his comments about Dr. Anthony, and I would also like to remind people what Richard Frederick said to other minister. He was quite emphatic. So, these are things that happen in life. You have expectations of some people, and they unfortunately don't jive with the way economy should move forward.
Well, so Michael, you went down a road and I have all the recordings. I have a lot of recordings, but nobody has a lot of recordings, but I do have a lot of recordings as well. So here's Richard Frederick on a political platform.
As I said, when it comes to Stevenson King, he's a man. You, Dr. Kenny Anthony, you are a pathological, compulsive, blatant liar, deceiver.
That's what you
Kenny,
just said.
Tonight,
Using my
I
words.
call you a categorical, compulsive, pathetic, categorical liar. Kenny, you are a mighty deceiver. You have deceived the House on more than one occasion. And I'll not tell you, take me to court. I'm no master. Do as you please.
The Housing and Urban Renewal Minister expressed curiosity at
Commission. You fired them, Kenny, didn't you? But tell us, how come Earl Huntley disposed of the government property in New York, and he said in court that you did not know and you didn't fire him? Is it because he said you asked him to keep Greenberg a secret? Do you all have other secrets?
So,
You see, now that's what has happened here. Robert asked the question. Dr. Anthony said that Herman Gill is tainted and should not be where he is, or something to that effect.
Yes.
And the question posed now is that based on all that was said there, does that apply to everybody in that field?
yeah.
So, it's interesting. It's interesting what is going on. But I think that Pandora's box that they talk about is going to be a very powerful box, because it has opened a real set of things that people are going to have to answer. And it's not going to... That's my gut feeling. Because when Norbert did that last night, I learned a lot from his show.
Oh my goodness.
A hell of a lot what went on there. So it's going to be interesting.
I'm telling you.
When I sorry to interrupt.
That's okay.
When I heard Norbert mention Lansico vis-a-vis Philippe and what Philippe is trying to do, my mind traveled right back to Julian Hunt when Julian Hunt first joined the Labour Party and before he became political leader. We worked very well together, Julian and myself and Pierre. And I'm saying to you and to your listeners, that Julian Hunt would have been an infinitely better manager of the economy of St. Lucia than Kenny Anthony.
How weak is
But,
that?
but you see, people like PhD, they like university degree, as if once you have a university degree, you know everything.
Yeah.
All it means is that you have passed, examination papers, you have studied hard and passed your exams.
And they have
Right?
used that a lot.
That
on
is
our
what it
people.
means.
That has been used on our people a lot, in the past. It has used on
making
the
it
people.
look as if once you have a degree, you know
you're
everything.
mighty. How weak is that statement by Philip Pierre, or is that a strategy about he's going to rename the resource center after Womanas Nancy? A whole lot in my mind, from an individual that's from the constituency, I see it as a total
Nonsense.
I don't know. There's not even a word I could put on
The
it.
thing about it, you don't waste time with that, because
Yeah.
he said if he's elected,
Right.
what Philip Pierre has decided is that he needs some UWP votes to win.
That's where he
I
was
mean,
going.
come on, guys. Let's
That's not gonna
analyze-
fool anybody.
Let's analyze the
I mean,
thing that
that could-
like
But you
these
know,
people.
I just heard Peter say something there, and I want to take Peter to task on part of it. I support Peter because I think Julian Hunt showed he is a man who came up from scratch and built up a business. Okay, what happened to him along the way? Not my business. I don't know. However, where I became very disillusioned with Julian Hunt at this stage of his life, when he went on television in the last 6 to 9 months and said that Philip Pierre would make a better prime minister
yes, my
than
goodness.
Alan Shastri
Yeah.
and Stevenson King put together. Can you imagine that?
Oh, I didn't hear that. but
Yes,
Paul-
I heard
he
it.
made that
but-
statement.
No, I'm not denying. But
Yeah.
Paul Julian, I am certain, and George is the one who introduced me to that idea. George introduced me to the idea that when politicians are unwell, when they're sick, they tend to say things that they would never have said in good health. Now, I have not spoken to Julian in a long time, and I'm not making excuses for him, but I doubt whether the Julian Hunt I knew 50 years ago, vibrant, young, forward-looking person, would have made that stupid statement.
I think it's a form of loyalty in my mind. That's just the way I see it. I see
Yeah,
the gentleman
it might
being
be,
very
but-
loyal, being loyal to his party. But
But
the
I-
statement about the combination of the two better than
Yeah.
Alan is ridiculous. It's
Yeah, I
really
don't
absurd.
think under normal circumstances Julian would do that.
Yeah, it's very ridiculous. You wanted to read something before we open up the lines, and so Michael will get you. And I like the way you're doing your preamble in sections. I like the
sections,
way
yeah,
you're
rather
doing
than-
that. You had something to read to
Yeah,
us?
I have something to read. And it's really about the work of the government vis-a-vis the constituency work.
Okay.
No one who is in good mental health can deny the tremendous toll in human life and jobs the novel coronavirus has exacted on some of the countries of the world, St. Lucia and the Caribbean, of course, included. When such negative forces as the COVID-19 pandemic strike, the response brings to mind an old adage which encourages us to get back on our feet and keep fighting, keep moving forward. This is what winners and successful people do. When you fall, you get up, stand up, keep moving forward. Only losers stay down when they fall.
That is a fact.
The arrival of the coronavirus in St. Lucia at a time when the island was ready in itself for a next round of economic development. Some 42 years after political independence, the electorate still has to wait until the Prime Minister deem it expedient to ring the election bell. I have alluded to this. Those who supported constitutional amendments to remove certain powers from the one whom the Constitution regards as first among equals, that is the Prime Minister, waited in vain. Now that another Prime Minister, that is Prime Minister Alan Shastri, who seemed equally sanguine about keeping the ringing of the bell, election bell, a secret, as both of his hands are on that election bell, one wonders whether there is a greater appetite for a fixed date for elections than previously. Whatever the merits of a fixed election date over the continuing power of the Prime Minister over the timing of elections, one thing seemed pretty clear for those who wish to see. The process of developing and building a better, more resilient and stronger St. Lucia ought to continue at an increasing pace if we are to regain some of the ground lost to the coronavirus. As politicians from all political parties press their case for re-election, it is a good time to remind the United Workers' Party candidates that the Prime Minister laid the manifesto proposals for his party and country upon assuming office 5 years ago. He stated then, and has repeated it more times than we care to remember, that his government's mission is to build a better, stronger, and more resilient St. Lucia. We must therefore view the various constituency development infrastructural projects not as individual and unrelated schemes, but as one huge national development project aimed at building better, stronger, more resilient people and country. Every effort must therefore be made by each UWP candidate to connect their various constituency projects and to showcase the broader national development effort which adds up to a better, stronger, and more resilient St. Lucia. This must be the aim. Every constituency project. If there is a bad road at Ottawa or in the heights of Babuno or wherever, and an ambulance cannot get a sick person out, all of us must feel it regardless of whether we have roads up to our homes. We are all connected in this, and all the constituency projects must be connected so that the whole of St. Lucia will be one developing and better country as far as this Prime Minister and his government are concerned. And that is why I dedicate myself to supporting them, to doing whatever I can to ensure that they are re-elected to office, because I've never seen so much work in my 50 or 60 years observing politics in St. Lucia, even at the heights of the great Sir John.
I must tell you, and I'm ringing the bell, you know what that speech sounded like? A throne speech. It sounded like a throne speech. No, seriously, very, very well said, well written, nice speech. So, Michael, you have some more of your preamble we want before we open.
What I would like to do is to put the final touch on the Cabot situation,
yes,
which I addressed. The Cabot situation is another nightmare for the Trust, based on the most recent report by a group of archaeologists handpicked by the Trust to report on the status of the site. Instead of accepting the decision by the archaeologists, we witnessed certain members attempting to discredit those learned gentlemen who have taken the time to do what they were required to do. This is so sad, but hopefully better sense will prevail in the long run if and when the Trust redefines its direction in restoring what the Trust was once expected of them as a body working in the true interest of the nation. This is it. And before we start, I just want to make, to respond to a personal comment that I heard driving here today on Andre Paul's show from an individual who had gone underground, but he seemed to have raised his head again, Mr. Shazzy.
Oh, really? He's around?
Yeah, who was babbling away, talking utter nonsense about the number of government institutions within this complex at Colony House. We have a total of 5 or 6 agencies here.
Yes, yes.
4 of which were put here by Dr. Kenny Anthony.
Oh, really?
Yeah. All these people were here when Dr. Anthony was here. The organizations which came into this project, this complex, were...
He appears like he's going to win easily. He's got a...
I wanted to get the archaeologist report. I'm looking for
the traffic department and also the agriculture department. But I want to say one thing, and anybody can check it. The rents paid here, I can tell you that. are between 50 to 60% less than anywhere else.
Ah.
Okay? That's number one.
Okay.
Number two, if I was so intent on getting government business, why would I be advocating at a police headquarters be established for the whole police force, where everybody, including
the one here.
police,
Yeah.
I have
It's
been
true.
pushing for it. So I'm actually fighting myself.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
The third thing I want to say is very clear. I'm a taxpayer in this country. Shazi is saying that having my son as a prime minister, I'm not entitled to get any government business.
Really?
So I'm asking a simple question. Then should they take any taxes from me since my son is there?
That's a valid point. Valid point.
This-
The government
you know,
should not be taking
he's
any taxes
such a
from
silly guy,
Yes,
okay?
yes.
A silly man
He is
talking
silly.
nonsense
Yeah.
and nonsense and nonsense.
Yeah.
That comment has been around for a while, and I've taken today to respond to it once and for all. I have nothing further to say,
Yeah.
but I know a greater part, you have a big audience
Oh, yes.
from your program, so I want everybody to learn one thing here, that no government officers or finance departments are very careful when they do. We have the best rates in the city,
That's
champion.
right.
I'm telling
That's
you
right.
that.
And your location
Check
as
it
well.
out, okay?
Yes.
Yeah. You have a good location, you have good parking, all right? I maintain my buildings so that my clients are happy.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, you, in your little way, you've been here for
Of
a year
course.
now.
Yes,
you see
more
what
than
I've done for
yeah.
you all
Yes.
to help out the situation,
Exactly.
okay, to make it amenable.
But look at what you did for and your house in the traffic department.
Correct.
Look at what you built on an extra to house the bikes. All of the
And
motorcycles.
there's no charge for that.
There's no charge for the
No charge.
motorcycles.
To secure
To se-
all the motorcycles,
That's
okay?
right.
And you go into there and you ask any police officer, and what did they tell you? They left a hellhole and went to heaven.
And they said that to me already.
They said
have
that,
said that
okay?
to me.
Right.
But it's interesting to hear that you said out of the 6 government rental spaces you
Yeah.
have here, 4 of them were brought in by Dr. Anthony.
All of them were here, brought by Dr. Kenny
Okay.
Anthony.
Charlie should learn that.
Yeah. And why, and why, some of them have been here for 14 years.
And they were brought in by Dr. Anthony.
Yes.
Shaji should hear that.
Why they haven't left?
Should they-
Because they are treated rightly.
Exactly.
And imagine that in the last days of the Labour Party, what did they do? The SSDF, that were also here under Dr. Anthony, went and did
That's right, on the
fiasco,
Millennium Highway.
spent $1 million of
Yeah,
taxpayers'
$4
money,
billion. Yeah.
boshed up, and they are back here now
That's right.
in a perfect quarters with good parking,
That's right.
on the doorstep with a bus terminal.
So, Michael, no one has to tell me because I see it all the time. Your maintenance crew are here every day.
Correct.
Any leak, any air condition, whatever.
Yeah.
And even if there's no problem, they're still here. So,
That's what you, let me tell you, it's a business champion.
Yes.
Without a tenant, I don't have a business.
That is right.
I must be able to work with my tenants all the time,
All the time.
and keep them happy.
That is
The
right.
happier they are, the longer they will stay. That's
is
why
right.
they are here. Okay? So we say no more.
all right, we have. You want to say something, sir, Brother Peter, before we open up the lines?
Well, I don't like to call certain names, Champagne, because, you know, I like to use some Creole or patois phrases, you know. My grandmother used to say, "Pa bay moun vale, you pa need."
That is true.
You pa need.
That is true.
Just by paying attention to them or even
Yeah.
answering them
Yeah.
as if you're raising the level of... there are people who have no use in this society, you know, Champagne. I hate to say that.
It is true.
I'm not God.
Yeah, it is true.
There are people we know who don't add anything positive in the society. all they do is to minus, extract, negative, take away. At the end of the day, they end up owing people like Sir Michael more money than you'd ever believe.
Yeah.
And they're the ones who speak the loudest.
Yeah. But
so you don't talk
Yeah,
about
we're not done.
Yeah.
But I am happy that Sir Michael said something here. And for someone or people that listen to this guy, what's his name, Shazi, making the statement about you having the government personnel here on your rental property, not knowing that Dr. Anthony bought 4 of those out of the 6. So that is very key for people, for all of St. Lucia to know. Because someone out there would say, oh, his son is in power, that is why they brought the rental property in here.
So when my son got in, I'll ask him to leave.
That's what they say. All right, St. Lucia, as always, every Wednesday we are speaking to two honorable statesmen, Brother Peter Josie and Sir Michael Shastney. Our lines are open up and we already have a call coming in. They don't waste time to call this program. A beautiful morning to you. Hello. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, good morning. Good morning, Mr. Josie. Good morning, Mr. Shastney.
Good morning, sir.
Yes. Mr. Shastney, this morning I heard when the guy said that, and I was trying to get the line to say exactly what you said there. I was trying my best to let them know before that government was in power, BNTF, Poverty Reduction Fund.
That's right.
Basic Need Trust Fund, SSDF, all these things was already there.
Yes.
But I did, when I heard Shazzy said that, and they have been saying that, but each time I try to get the line, when I'm going there, I doesn't get the line. I tried to explain that this morning.
Yes, yes.
Thank you very much.
All right, beautiful.
Kind of you. Yeah.
All right?
Oh, yes.
Okay, beautiful. And great observation. The callers, listen, the people are paying attention. Where is this guy coming from? Was he? I thought he was dead and buried. And all of a sudden he's coming for his first time with a ridiculous...
The business he started in Martin, you better go and check it out. That's what's there.
A beautiful morning to you. Hello. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, champion, and good morning to your guests.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Peter Josie.
Now we have limited time, so we're giving everybody 3 minutes.
Good morning, good morning.
Okay, I wanted to deal with something.
Yeah, but 3 minutes, 3 minutes.
I do not have enough time to do with that because I heard Shazzy and Andy Paul, going after Sir Michael. But one thing I have to tell him and the St. Lucia Labour Party, that SSDF was there under the Labour government.
That's right.
And the truth of the matter is, they made Sir Michael goodwill ambassador. So what they're afraid of, they're after the Shastneys and the Diboulis. I will come straight forward. Shazzy, you listening? Are you campaigning for ambassador job back in Matnik? That would not happen.
That's not going to happen.
That will not happen.
He knows
Shazzy.
that. He knows that.
Just stop it. Stop it. Cheap politics. Why are you going after a guy that has done so much for St. Lucia? Shazzy, what have you done for St. Lucia? What business you have you employ in the hundreds of St. Lucians to put bread on the table for them? The answer is nothing.
Yeah.
And you're going after a man that contributes immensely to this country. You're political hungry. It would not happen. And if you're going after the Shastneys and it will be Labour and the Shastneys, I'm telling you straight up, Shazzy, you and your Labour Party,
they will lose every time.
Fought against the St. Lucia Labour Party. And you're living in the wilderness for another 20 years.
Yes.
Until when the Prime Minister of the day, the Honorable Alan Shastney, said, it's time for me to move and give somebody else a chance. The Labour Party will not excel as long Alan Shastney is as Prime Minister and the government in power.
That's right.
Shazzy, stop it. Stop that good politics.
All right. Thank you, caller. Beautiful. And you know the good thing for you, Sir Michael, you're not bothered with none of those things. You're not bothered. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Good morning, Mr. Shastney. Good morning, Mr. Josie.
Good morning, darling. Good morning.
Okay, interesting topic this morning. Champagne.
Yes.
Let me. I'm going on. I live in Shazzy. Shazzy, the one we're looking for. I am going back on that PR thing Labour Party put out there.
Yes.
The impact. Let me tell you something. I keep on telling you that election, it will be called by God, not by the St. Lucia Labour Party, and not by the Prime Minister. That impacts issue. It pop up again. It didn't just happen to pop up. That is to bring down Kenny Anthony and all the crookedness that he has done to St. Lucia. The wickedness that he has done to St. Lucia, hence the reason it popped its head back. And it popped its head back up by whom? By his same party. They are the ones that are calling for it. And they're going to get it. And the whole of St. Lucia will know exactly what went down with Impact. Another thing, I'm going to tell you, God is the one who raised up people and put them down. Look at Sir John. Sir John was there. Nobody wouldn't have recognized Sir John and give him what that was due unto him. God had him to be elected back into the arena, and he died on his throne for that recognition. Kenny Anthony, he has to stay there, and the entire Caribbean and our country by extension. He did so much wickedness too. We have to see him. God might have to shine on him, and he has to go down in the book of shame for what he did to us. And it's coming, I tell you, and none of us will not be able to stop it. We can talk until tomorrow. It has to happen. He has to go down in the book of shame. That's why he deserves it, and God's light is now shining on him. That's why that Impact is coming back, and it will bite him, and it will bite him bad. Have a great day.
Thanks a lot, Colin. Thanks a lot. Well said. Now, so Michael, I know you are not bothered with, you listen to them, but you're not bothered with these people.
Not bothered.
You're not bothered with these people. I mean, you've been for the mountain top.
After the call, I'll make another comment about it.
All right, beautiful. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, morning. Something, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I just called to...
I have my guest here.
Yeah, good morning, and excuse me, Mr. Shasmi and Senior and Brother Jersey.
Good morning to you, my brother.
Yes, good morning. I just want you all to take on this nonsense that was said by, is it Springer, the former spokesman of the Labour Party? Is that his name?
What's the statement? Because I don't.
What
there are
did
many
he say,
statements.
caller?
He said that because the Prime Minister told the guy on Radio 100 that he should be ashamed of his nonsense.
And indeed, that was a good statement he made.
Yes, that was a very good statement.
Yes.
And because he said that, the former spokesman of the Labour Party, I think it's Springer, that guy.
Yes.
He said that the media should boycott the Prime Minister's statement or address at every angle. These guys should be ashamed of themselves. How can you say something like that?
When he's finished. Go ahead, Colin.
How can you say that the media should come together and boycott everything pertaining to the Prime Minister just because the Prime Minister corrects Stanley on his bad saying? You understand?
Yeah.
Because if Stanley live in St. Lucia, raised in St. Lucia, know everything about the hard workmanship of Sir John.
Yes.
And he can open his mouth and say something like that. He should be ashamed of himself for true.
Yeah, that should not even be brought up because this guy is insane.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Stanley should be ashamed of himself for true.
Of course.
So what I am saying, if the former spokesman of the Labour Party come in and talk about boycotting the Prime Minister, it means that even he himself should be ashamed of himself.
I believe that. And Colin, let me say something. The Prime Minister has an avenue at Sky FM where thousands of people listen in St. Lucia and around the world. So that nonsense he's talking.
What I'm saying, that even Springer himself should be ashamed of himself to say something like that.
Caller, could I ask you a question?
Yeah, I'm listening.
How long do you think that Springer had that in mind to say? How long do you think he has been nursing that idea to ban the Prime Minister from every radio station?
Yeah. Brother Josie,
how long
Brother Josie, you take it from my mind. I was just about to say that what he said had nothing to do with what the Prime Minister said. He has always wanting that.
Exactly.
He has always wanting that. Let me tell you something.
I am very happy. I'm very happy you call me brother, because in all my political life, that is what I've been trying to teach or explain.
We all are brothers.
Okay? Not only that we are brothers, but we learn how to think about a particular situation when we are confronted with it. Springer has had that in his mind to say a long
time ago.
Thank you.
Because the thing is that these cheap politics that the Labour Party is playing, what they are doing is like they have solutions there, like beggars and they just give handouts. It's no longer like that.
That's right.
Thank you.
The
Thank
world
you.
is
It's no
competitive.
longer like that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You understand?
Yeah.
We have the mighty Prime Minister that comes here
Yes.
and enforcing and raising the standard of living in
Yes,
St.
sir.
Lucia.
And enable us to be competitive. We
You
have to
understand?
compete.
Allowing every single man and woman to stand up
That's
and
right.
fend for themselves.
That's right, Sir Caller.
You
That's
understand?
right.
Yes.
So then people don't believe they can just come and say their nonsense like
Yeah.
what Springer is saying there.
Yeah.
I was like, Springer should be ashamed of
We
himself.
should be. All of them.
Yeah, for him to open his mouth and say something like that.
Thanks a lot, Caller.
You understand? Thank you.
All right.
Say something.
Okay.
Just for 1 second.
All right. Okay.
There's
Hold on.
one other comment which I forgot to address with Mr. Shazi.
Yes.
And that is, he said that when I had my show, Open Mic,
Yes.
I told Kenny Anthony he was renting too many properties. And he wants to know why I've changed. I have not changed. You know why I have not changed? Because I'm one of those advocating that they build police headquarters
That's right.
to move away from all the rentals,
All the
including
rentals.
mine.
Including yours.
Including mine.
That's right.
Yeah. So this is the kind of nonsense he talks. He does no research, but it's a whole cabal of them who sit talking
Yeah, in a-
foolishness.
in a group.
That is why, as the guy says, he's waiting for an ambassadorship to go back because he cannot earn a living where he is today.
And so, Michael, not just him.
Yeah.
The entire, if you look at all of the Labour Party operatives, they have to be dependent on the government when the government is in power. They're not a champagne that could go down to the airport
Correct.
carry
And that's
back.
what I said about
You
them.
know, they're not a Peter Josie that could write some books and have it sold somewhere. They must depend on the government coffers.
Yeah, you didn't hear what Philip
to
here
survive.
said? That his father didn't make a profit, okay? Because his father was a police officer and his mother was a teacher.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not trying to compare myself to his parents. We are different people, but we took different roads.
That's right.
The road I took, go and see the development which I have done in St.
Exactly.
Lucia. I built the first shopping center here. I built one in the south. I built one in the north. I had 2,500 people working. So, well, you know, so anyway, it is what it is, you know? Yeah.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
I'm okay, thank you. Good morning, Mr. Josie.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sir Michael.
Morning, my brother.
Gentlemen, I would like to submit that as regards the statement about the Prime Minister and his attempt to malign Mr. Francis, I think this is a case of somebody falling on his own dagger. Because in that document, Mr. Anthony has said more about himself than he has about Mr. Francis.
Very true. Very true.
What he has done is to indicate how high-handed and arrogant he is and has no regard for the institutions of St. Lucia. So to come and see that nobody voted Mr. Francis is just a feeble attempt to malign the man because he knows that he's his opponent.
And caller, there's something that just came to mind. We would never know if the voting was premeditated. Huh? We would never know if we had a discussion with the police officers. You know?
Exactly.
Exactly.
We know nothing.
Exactly so. Exactly so. Because you know he can demand the heads of all institutions to do whatever he pleases.
Exactly.
We all know that. On another issue, quickly, I also heard the statement by Mr. Pierre that he intended to honor Romanus Lancico.
Yeah.
Champagne, gentlemen, I don't think the English language has a comparable word. So I will use the Creole word. And that is, I'm sure Peter Josie knows the expression very well, le yo di amoni li fond. Alright?
Li fond. Oui, moi connais mon parole ça bien.
Monsieur ni un chay li fond.
Un chay li fond. Li fond? What does li fond mean?
Il ka veni do yon bagay le un chay même si en road bagay.
Li fond is to be devious.
Okay. Saying one thing and meaning another thing.
Quite, yes.
All right.
Now, you know, when after the 1997 election, whether it was by accident or whether it was by design, Philippe Pierre got the same ministry that Lansico had.
That is right. Tourism.
Remember that,
I
Chanton?
do
Yes,
remember.
yes, I remember.
Pierre came in with his secretary and even his cleaner for his office. The young lady who was Lansico's secretary was placed in a room in that ministry for an entire week before they transferred her to Victoria Hospital. So now, after 25 years, you come in and tell us that you have so much gratitude towards Romanas Lansico.
Can you believe it?
Champagne, that is a straw and it is a rotten straw.
A rotten straw, yes.
It's also
all right. Thanks a lot, caller.
It's also a desperate move, caller.
Yeah.
The last throw of the dice, man. The last throw of the dice.
Special good morning to you. Hello. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, go ahead, caller. We can hear you.
Yes. Let me say hello to Sir Michael.
Morning.
I think you must have picked up the voice now.
Yeah.
This is Steve.
Steve, he said.
Okay, Steve. Right.
Your first builder.
Got you.
He said your
Brother
first
Steve,
builder.
you're one of the best builders in St. Lucia. I
Yes,
wish I could
and then
recommend you to the world. All the jobs you've done, nothing has failed. Everything is perfect up to date, Steve.
You gave me a certificate.
I shall. I'll give you more than that, Steve. You deserve
Yes,
it.
I know. And that was the first mall that was built in St. Lucia. And the second one was the one in the south.
Correct.
Both for them.
It's so funny that you should call this morning, Steve, because only yesterday I was at the mall walking through the aisle. And I said to someone, look at those tiles that are laid down. That was laid down 31 years ago.
Wow.
That guy was one of the best builders in St. Lucia. Only yesterday I was telling somebody that.
And he's calling today.
Yeah, he's calling.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, Sir Michael.
Yes.
You have done so much for St. Lucian, and then this warehouse that they're talking about, or your building on John Compton Highway, you have that over 40 years ago.
Wow.
And Sir Michael had a spot where the how you call it, the union NIC thing has there.
Right.
And then you had bought a building from Structural System in Barbados.
Right.
While I was building Point Seraphim.
Correct.
And then you said, Steve, as soon as you finish Point Seraphim, we're going to start building this. And you didn't forget me. And you are the first man that hired a local contractor to put up such a, and it was supposed to be about $4 million, but you shut it down. You didn't put the tower crane, the tower clock. It would have been the best mall in the Caribbean if you had put the face armor tower clock. Because Leslie Mondays, he was the one who designed it.
Right.
And I cannot understand how Michelle Frederick can say that you said about your son. Because your son was the one that was involved in that building as well.
Correct.
And then he also took a shop for his wife, his first wife.
That is correct.
I can remember that And then let me tell you about Kenny Anthony. When the mall was 21 years, you invited him, and then he had just won the election, and he went to Venezuela, and he had Philippe Jepier and then Dr. Luis, the same one. Yeah, and then he didn't come to attend because they had won the election. He went and paid. They say he went and paid some bills, and then he went to Venezuela. And I have more to tell you. You must try and get in touch with me.
Caller, we may have to bring you on the program with Sir Michael and Mr. Peter Josie. Would you like to do that?
Okay, whenever you're ready.
All right, beautiful. So we'll keep in touch with Sir Michael, and he'll let you know when you could come on the program.
All right, then.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much, Steve.
All right, beautiful.
All
Thanks
right,
a lot.
take care. Have a nice day.
All right, great.
Bye-bye.
All right, thanks for holding. Good morning. Hello? All right, so we lost that. The gentleman is bringing back history. He said 40 years.
Oh, yeah.
That is a long time.
Yeah, long time.
Hello,
One of
good
the
morning.
best builders in St. Lucia.
Yes.
Yeah, good morning. It's me again.
Yes,
I don't
sir.
like calling for a second time.
That's all right.
But I just get a call from Martinique, and I made a call to a place called Saint Joseph.
Uh-huh.
And those are the people, during the time of the St. Lucia Labour Party reign, that they had an ambassador there. And you know when you have problems, you go to your embassy, right?
Yes.
And there was a lot of problems in that embassy. And when people call in and trying to tarnish people's reputation, they were just eating the money. They were not doing nothing. They were not appointed as ambassador, but they wanted to reign as ambassador. They does not carry the qualifications that would qualify them to be an ambassador in a foreign country. And that is the problem with these guys.
Yeah.
Dave, you must complain, Champagne. I could recall some other complaints people used to call Jugwa, you know. You understand? Those guys believe they know it all, but they don't know nada.
That's right.
And those people in Martinique, they do not want to see a Labour Party government in power because they've gone through enough time of these guys when they were over there. Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot. Now listen to this. Shazi,
Hello,
I don't want to talk about Shazi. Shazi to me is none and void. I mean, it's a waste of time. And I'm happy that you clarified what happened. Good morning to you, sir. Go ahead.
Champagne, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, sir. Good morning. Thank you.
Okay, Champagne, I just want
I have my guest, so if you're going to greet me, you should greet my guest.
Yeah, to your hosts, Sir Michael and Peter Josie as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
My guest. Go ahead, caller.
I just want to ask a question, Champagne. What is the difference between asking the result of the impact, right?
Yeah.
And the statement that Ernest Hilaire made in Dominica.
Oh, huge difference.
I just want to find out if the Labour Party, it is just to show you how they're trying to distract the mind of St. Lucians. Because right now, this is the main focus of St. Lucians, is to ask Philippe Jepier to make a statement as to what Ernest Hilaire said in Dominica.
Yeah.
It is very close to what the impact that they want the result for. So give us the meaning of the comment that was made in Dominica and the impact. So I don't see why they're trying to distract St. Lucian's mind to ask them to forget about what was said in Dominica, and they're trying to make St. Lucian's bring towards the St. Lucian's mind as to what happened, let's say like almost 7 or 8 years ago.
Caller, I'll continue to say it here that Ernest Hilaire should not be on the ballot. What the statements he made in Dominica, there should be a law that governs St. Lucia where treason, in my mind this is treason, to go in a foreign in a country and speak about the people of your country. This man should never be running for office in this coming election. Should never be.
At no time.
Should never be.
At no time. Because what's the guy, I remember the guy that was working in the Prime Minister's office as a financial, I think he ran in Castries North. and he said that they saw him on video.
Yeah, we know who you
Yes, we know you. Yes.
Circulating around. Up to now, we have not gotten any proof of that. But he was asked to resign. And he was resigned from the minister's office.
Now let me stay with you a little bit on that. Now the pressure for the resignation came in from the Labour Party operatives and the Labour Party itself. So the gentleman was asked to resign. He resigned. But are we making any push in the same vein to have Ernest Hille as a people to step down as a parliamentarian for the statement that was made in Dominica? Are we pushing for that?
Exactly.
Because all of St. Lucia is supposed to push for that.
But Champagne, listen, even before that caller, you remember Dr. Anthony stood in the House of Assembly and said that he will write to foreign investors and ask them not to invest in St. Lucia.
That's right.
That statement should have disqualified Anthony from ever contesting elections in St. Lucia.
Well said. Well said. Are you there, caller?
The law stands only for the United Workers' Party, and then the Labour Party can do what they want.
Exactly, caller. That's the way I see it. That's the way I see it.
No, we are one nation, and I also want to encourage St. Lucians that whatever development that happen in St. Lucia, it is not for the Alan Shastey regime.
Thank you.
It is for the future, moving forward toward the next generation.
That's right.
And everybody want to believe because Alan Shastey building a road in cul-de-sac, this is to make political mileage. It is not political mileage.
Where is the political
Alan
mileage?
Shastey might not be the prime minister in the next 4 or 5 years. But the road stays there.
The road is all there forever. Amen.
It's so great.
You understand? The development in St. Lucia is not for Alan Shastey or for the United Workers' Party regime. It is true that it happened under the United Workers' Party government. And it is also good to prove to the people of St. Lucia that when you put a government in office, they are working.
That's
so
right.
when the Labour Party tried to stop every project and every development that the United Workers' Party is doing, it is for it is like, I don't even cannot get the word to
Caller, the purpose of this dialogue that we are having right now on 93.1 FM Sky is to do exactly that. To open the minds of the people, to clarify the lies, and to discuss facts.
That's right. That's right. All right, caller.
Well,
Thanks a lot.
I just wish the whole of St. Lucia would have listened to to this station and then to open their brains, open their eyes and their mind and to do what they need to do.
Thank you, caller. And we do have a lot. All right, have a great afternoon. Well, great contribution.
A lot more callers like you
great contribution.
to explain to St. Lucians
yes.
what the outcome of those programs will be.
Yeah. Thanks for holding. Good morning. Hello?
Good morning, Champagne.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning to my elderly statesman, my favorite elderly statesman, Michael Shastey and Sir Peter Josie.
Good morning to you, caller.
Morning, Mr. Bermuda.
I rather call Mr. St. Lucia. So Michael,
sir,
don't let no Bermudan hear you calling a foreigner Bermudan, okay? Let me tell you that. Don't let no Bermudan hear you call a foreigner Bermudan. They will get in your case. No, the border they'll Conway Garden Road. So Michael, you see those guys, those guys, they call them rats, like Shastey. I would like to see you get those guys, go on their platform, on their radio station, their television station, and embarrass them.
That's a waste of time.
Guys like he, huh?
No, go ahead.
That's what you gotta do, those guys. That's what you go on their home turf. You go on their home turf. You take them on Yardi Station or NBC, whatever they call it, and you go there, you get guys like he, which are Frederick, you get those guys and you deal with them. Okay? That's how you deal with those guys. No.
You think they're worth you think they're worth that, caller?
You talk about these two gentlemen. These two gentlemen in your studio right now. This man, what is that done with St. Lucia? Damn, I can't even think about it, man. And you for calling those guys in the wrong way, those guys should be charged, boy, arrested, and thrown in the key. So, I got to be short. So I got to be short. So Alan Michael Shastey is by far
the best and the greatest leader on the planet. But one more thing I'm going to say. Everybody wants a particular date for elections. So Michael, so Peter, that's good and nice, but only in certain countries. That will work in America and probably Europe. In certain countries like St. Lucia, that would work because you know how they operate. They know they only got 5 years. They'll get their hand deeper into the cookie jar. And they will get away with it.
Yeah.
And they will get away with it. Like the former government. All those cost overruns. I call your cost overruns. I call it dipping down in the cookie jar. You want to tell me that every building, everything invested supposed to cost $2 billion and that's costing $15 million, $20 million, $30 million, $150 million, and you tell me cost overrun? Huh? That's nonsense. Those are guys that are dipping in the cookie jar, bottom line. And the reason why, let me tell you something. The great man, Sir Adam Michael Shasta, when he stepped in Parliament, it is a law now, if you dip your hand in that cookie jar and you're found guilty, 40 or 50 years later, we coming for you.
Yeah.
You understand? But those guys don't want that there. They don't want that there. And that solid date for election, there's one time I disagree with you gentlemen. I disagree with that.
All right.
Those guys will be different. Those guys will empty solution for the jar.
Thanks a lot, my friend. All right, beautiful.
Okay, thank you.
So, Michael, listen to me. If the callers call to talk about Shazi, we will probably talk about it, but I don't want to discuss Shazi.
Yeah.
These people, in my mind, they don't mean too much. You understand? Not to degrade anyone as a human being, but talking about Shazi is messing up our show. I don't want to talk about it.
Don't forget, if we are having a political discussion and you refuse to discuss a person, that's not degrading the person.
Okay, all right. Well, I agree. All right, a special good morning to you. Hello.
Yeah, special to you, Mr. Champagne and Mr. Shastny and Mr. Josie.
Good morning.
My people in my area are curious to know when are you bringing back the wardens? We want to know because look at how three of them just walking the streets there now in plain clothes.
The wardens?
Uh-huh.
Well, the wardens were there for a particular time, so I think
I
the
think
contract has
we should
been
have the
ended.
wardens back for the elections because if you don't have wardens for elections, man, this election is going to be bloody. You know?
That's a good idea, caller.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I'll listen to you.
All right, thanks a lot. Now,
that's a very good idea.
we have 15 minutes, so we want to talk a little bit about the cul-de-sac bridge because I saw that salt turning ceremony last week.
Yeah.
And it really made me feel good.
It's really
The
fantastic.
transformation that's going to go on down there.
Yeah,
Let's take a call. Beautiful morning to you. Hello.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Now, Shazi, I just heard you say something there, but we're in the season of politics, you know.
Yeah, we are.
Shazi's politicking.
Oh yes, no. What I was not saying we should not talk about him. I'm saying it doesn't. A guy called and said that Sir Michael should go on radio and debunk him, and I said that.
I'm going to ask. I want to ask Sir Michael 3 questions, which I know he's going to answer me very fairly. Sir Michael, how many years did the government's ministry, oh God, what do they call them?
SSDF.
SSDF rent your building for how long and from when?
Yeah. During Dr. The SSDF was there for at least 9 years when Dr. Antti was there.
Yeah.
Great. And who was the boss? And who was the boss of SSDF at the time?
Mr. Joachim Henry.
Oh, good. And,
You remember?
And the other question is, let St. Lucia know how he was so happy with that place that he beautified that place to a T.
Yes, he said that you should let St. Lucia know how he beautified the place.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, because caller, what has happened? Don't forget, they moved out when Joachim Henry was there, and they moved to Kubaril, which was a complete disaster.
Yes.
And when they came back here, I mean, I ask any and everybody to come and see how beautiful the place is. Beautifully fixed up, all fully modernized, okay?
Yes.
With parking right on their doors, so they can just walk in 1 second.
Great.
Their cars are there. There's a bus stop there for all the people coming to the SSDF. They don't have to climb a stairs.
So much money.
Yeah.
After they spent so much money, they just got up, they left, and they went into another building at Kubari.
Yes.
Where you found that a lot of the residents were making noise.
Yeah. Millions of dollars were spent.
Traffic and Now, the other thing about it, I want Solutions to know that after we won the election, that Shazzy came and sat down in my office, saying that he had developers from Martinique and whatnot, French developers who wanted to develop land in Babuno.
Yeah.
And he wanted to join the United Workers' Party.
Really, Colin?
Yes, really.
Shazzy?
And I want Shazzy to remember that. Yes, the same Shazzy. He went through me, he went through you, he went through Hubert James, he went through a lot of us. He wanted to join the party.
Whoa.
Because he was missing that nice job in Martinique.
Yes. So apparently he was trying to get back into Martinique.
Good. So all of a sudden, elections is in the air, and in a few months now, he's back with his Labour Party. He's trying to find fault with everything.
Yes.
But he wanted to join the great United Workers' Party.
Ah, Kola, I love that information you're giving us this morning.
Is that what you call an opportunist?
That's right.
Right. I keep on telling you fellas, I'm a history book, you know. and I have a management party who just listen to me. And probably one or two like Peter Josie and so that's that. Our party wouldn't even have to put up a campaign during the election.
Now, Kola, let me engage you. Let me engage you because you have brought up something that is very interesting and all of the world needs to hear. What was your response, knowing what Shazzy had done prior to the elections, all of the talking, all of the maypoo, if you will? What was your response to Shazzy when he sat in your office?
I told Shazzy he has to go on the radio publicly and announce the
You told him that?
Yes, I told him that. They were telling us
that was good.
You need to go out there and say, yeah.
That was good.
Let the public know.
Yes, I love the response.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, but you know, because I see so hypocrisy going on in that part. Even Philippe and the naming of
oh my goodness
of the
resource center,
the HRC building there.
Yes.
Oh,
I mean,
that's desperation, eh, Kola?
So many things they told Lance.
I was right there.
Even at the end after they won the elections, they said he was at his home dressing.
That's right.
You know, he was at his home dressing to come to work, not knowing that he had lost. At one time, they made a comment that they passed by the man home, and they saw him watering plants with an underwear full of holes.
All of that was said.
Caller, you know what that Lancico stroke reminds me of? A magician pulling a rabbit out of a hat.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, you want to promise, you want to battle with people, you want their vote in order to name the resource center the Romanus Lancico Resource Center.
But
can you believe it? So you have to win to do that too?
But a guy like you that is involved in politics for such a long time, you know that's not going to fool anyone.
That can't fool
that will not fool not even the person that is not even voting.
It's just the foolishness of a leader who would watch fellas who have gone to other secondary schools. Tell them, but you didn't go to college. Hey, that opposition leader you have there, he likes to ridicule people. And he's a very vindictive person.
Yeah,
and I want Solutions to know that. But I'll have a conversation with Solutions and the youth, you know.
Yes.
And we will be doing that on Sky FM. No,
that's right.
I want Sky FM to do something. I want Sky FM to put out some flyers, and try to advertise Sky. I know some of the other radio stations will not do it, but there is smart ways of advertising. We need to advertise Sky FM some more. We want to get all the Solution public now to be listening to the station that will bring them back and to educate them and to tell them the truth.
That's right, Colin.
Okay?
All right, beautiful.
Good afternoon, brother.
Thanks a lot. You heard that, what the caller said about Shazzy? Yeah. I would never believe I was going to hear this, ever.
That's politics, you know.
No, I understand that, but you use the word. This is an opportunistic individual.
Yeah, but this is what you have in politics.
My goodness. And it happens. I know it does, but I would never believe someone of Shazzy's caliber to come and sit in the office.
That's why I tell you there's nothing.
Does Shazzy have a caliber?
A beautiful morning to you. Hello.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. I'm good.
I want to shed some light on the National Trust.
Yes, go ahead, caller.
Yeah, about the prison. I used to be a prison officer. You know, at that time. In fact, you know, I used to be a prison officer when I don't know if you know
the
three fellows. Maybe Josie. I don't say good morning to Mr. Peter Josie and Sir Shasney.
Good morning to you, caller.
No, maybe they will remember the incident when the Free Fellows went to.
Could you speak up a little louder, please?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe you will remember when the Free Fellows killed the Affringtons, I think.
The Etheringtons, yes, I remember.
Right. I was working at the prison at that time.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, what Mr. Shastny said about the prison deteriorating and so forth, you know, it is true. It is true. I have never seen during that time, and even now, that the National Trust ever visited the prison to really look after the prisoners and to visit to see the state of the prison at that time.
The building, yes.
I know that. I know. I was a prison officer.
Yeah.
And even during that time, even the father of the nation at that time, during that time, he used to have his vehicle. Prisoners used to bring his vehicle there, and prisoners used to see after his vehicles for him and so forth and things like that and whatnot. But for him to visibly visit the prison, he didn't used to that. He was relying on the officers, the chief officer, the superintendent, and so forth, and even prisoners used to go and give him information. He knew about it. The only politician I know who visited the prison in those days was after 1979. The SLP used to govern, and there was a riot in the prison. There was a riot. Prisoners used to burn the prison.
Yes.
In fact, they were getting on in the prison and so forth. And he made the statement. He went in the prison and he said, "Leave my boys alone."
That's right. That was said.
Don't touch my boys. You know. And of course, the prison has always been going through periods of declension, just like the police force, so to speak. Going through periods of up and down and so forth.
So, caller, you would be one of those that would be in full agreement with having a brand new police headquarters.
More than full agreement.
Yes.
Because I can tell you the history that there used to be, there was always have to be an odd number of prisoners in the cells. Either 3, 7, 5, not an equal number. But there were some cells that had equal number of prisoners because of the number of them and so forth. Now, what Shastny was talking about, referring to, was the prison that's called FOP, First Offenders Prison, the FOP. That is where it used to be just when you used to pass, the prisoners used to pass by the, where they selling the ice cream there.
Yeah, by the dairy.
Right, by the dairy. They used to go there, they used to throw cigarettes and drugs and, all kind of things there. And I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I believe you do, caller.
I know what I'm talking about.
I believe you do. All right.
And that's why they used to put prisoners, first offenders prison, prisoners who had committed themselves the first time, And some of them because of the number of prisoners, we used to put even old people there, old fellas there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you remember the man who had shot somebody up by Timon, not Timon, just Balata there, Timon.
Yeah.
About the land and so forth. You know. And the house is still there.
Yeah.
That's why they used to put in. And all the old prisoners and so, you know.
All right, caller. Well, thank you very much. We hope that you could call us. We hope that you could call us some other time.
I hope that the Prime Minister really win that case for St. Lucians.
Yeah.
That because it is time that the prison had to go.
That's right.
It had to go.
Thank you.
And it is time, over time, that it should go and replace it
Yes.
with something that is meaningful, something that will be able to understand the full implications of development, of the development of the country.
Thank you very much, caller.
I am not able to give you the definition.
Yes.
Of the royal goal and other things, but God bless you.
You could call us at some other time.
Thank you,
You know, we're looking at something there, that a new prison was built. The old structure stayed there. The National Trust had no interest in it, not 1 year after, not 2 years, 18 years, no interest. You know, they could have come in and say, okay, we're going to build something nice, we're going to make it a monument or museum or something. No. But as soon as this government now find some interest to put it away and build something.
This is
really sad.
This is crazy.
This is
just
sick.
harassing the government.
This is sick. We're going to do our final call. Hello, good afternoon. Good morning.
Good afternoon, Champion. Good afternoon, Sir Michael and Peter Josie.
Hi,
Mr. Peter Josie. In my opinion, they should dissolve the trust and deport Tulsi.
No, I don't know about the
Now,
deporting.
some people saying they don't know. Remember when Aloy was giving people dog roti to eat?
Yes, Aloy was deported. I remember that.
You remember the
I was a
deported
little
him,
boy
right?
at the time. I
Remember the guy that had the business behind the post office? You remember that guy? I can't remember his
I don't
name.
remember the guy at the bar, but I remember the Aloy.
Yeah, he
guy.
had something behind the post office.
Was he a Jamaican?
Huh?
Oh, you're talking about Mr. Long, the white man, the white guy. Yes, what's his name? David something.
Yeah, he had some kind of business.
Yes.
He was deported. So I don't know why you say you don't know about that. If a man wasn't born here and he's been a nuisance.
Yes.
Before the guy, he's not making sense.
Yeah, but what if the guy?
What is going on?
What if the person has become a citizen? Can you still deport him? I don't know. I'm just asking.
Of course.
Okay, I didn't know. I'm just asking.
That's what I wanted to say.
All right, thanks a lot.
We just do a Trump on him.
Yeah. No, but Sir Michael, I mean, this
I
is
think
very...
the deportation would be a little tough, but
It would
I think somebody must read the Riot Act to Tulsi. I really do.
Yeah, I believe that should be as well. Hello, good morning, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Champion. That is Skinny.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon to Michael.
Good afternoon, sir.
And good afternoon to Brother Peter Jersey.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
Mr. Jersey, that is Linky.
Hey, Linky.
Yes.
How are you, my brother?
I'm not too bad.
I haven't seen you in a little while, man.
Well, you'll be seeing me because you'll be seeing me very soon.
I know the coronavirus have everything on a kind of way, right?
Everything on the log.
What Mr. Augustine said is true about Shazi.
Yeah.
Shazi used to meet me every day and tell me to talk to Mr. Augustine for him.
Really?
Talk to Mr. Augustine for him. Talk to Mr. Augustine for him.
Yeah.
And when on Springer, I was with the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister offered Springer a job. And the Prime Minister tell him anytime he's ready, just tell me and I will report to him and then he will come to work. Up to now, Springer never said anything.
Yeah.
You know what the father, Springer, Winston Springer?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just, Linky, it's just shame, you know, my brother. It's just shame, you know. False pride and shame. Some people have said so much
foolish pride
that they're afraid, foolish pride, they're afraid to humble themselves, you know, and yet that is the thing that Jesus Christ preached the most, humility.
Yes, because I was there with the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister offered him a job. The Prime Minister tell him anytime he ready.
I believe you. I believe you.
And the police could, there one or two of the policemen were there, they could vouch for that.
Okay.
So what Shaji said to you? He asked you to ask the Prime Minister for a job for him, or
ask Mr. Augustine. Check Mr. Augustine for him.
Yes.
Check Mr. Augustine for him.
Yeah.
And but Mr. Augustine didn't lie, and that is true. Mr. Augustine tell him to go to the radio station.
Yes.
The media. Yes. And denounce the Labour Party, and then they will bring him in the party.
That's right. That was a great response, boy. I could tell you that. That was great by Brother.
Thank you. Well done, man. Nice to hear your voice.
All right. Thanks a lot, my friend.
Okay, enjoy the rest of the day.
All right, beautiful.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Okay, all right, so we have 12 o'clock, St. Lucian. You know at 12 o'clock, our statesmen are always out of here. And Brother Peter, any last words from you, sir? When are you going to give me an extra hour of it? You know I like to have my guests for a long time.
I don't think it's absolutely necessary, but when the time is hot, we can discuss it. Yeah. I think we had a good discussion. And once again, I want to say that a lot of people were fooled by Dr. Anthony.
Yeah.
And up to now, I am split within me about the amount of blows that Philip Pierre is getting. And Kenny Anthony is hiding in the background, whereas I believe the worst manipulator of the Labour Party has been Kenny Anthony. The worst. And I repeat, I think that apart from the stupid statement I understand that Julian might have made, and Julian feels that he owes this guy something because where he was posted somewhere, his son is trying to...
Yeah.
This guy has been a waste of time, Dr. Anthony. A waste of time in Beaufort. A waste of time in St. Lucia. And he's panicking, and that is why he's trying to attack Hermangild Francis. But I wish Hermangild Francis would stiffen the sinews and summon the courage of a lion and fight in Beaufort South to get this guy out of the backs of the people of Beaufort.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that there may not be, and I'm saying there may not be any form of campaign in that manner, but you have said that you would go down there and take the platform.
Once I'm wanted, I will go.
Yeah.
But we can do it virtually.
Exactly.
Because right now people watch television and listen, you know, the radio, the cell phone, the tablet.
Sure.
So that's more effective as far as I'm concerned.
It is more, All right, thank you very much. So, Michael, we didn't get a chance to speak about St. Jude's, the airports, the bridge, but maybe next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday,
God willing,
we will
talk about this.
I want to thank St. Lucia for their contribution today, and all the very best, and see you next week.
Thank you very much, sir. All right, have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
All right, St. Lucia, thank you very much for tuning in, as always. But I tell you, the 2 hours is really insufficient. I wish we could have at least 3 hours so we could take a whole lot more calls. Thank you for all of the calls that came into our program, and we want to say thank you to Sir Michael and Mr. Peter Josie. And the phones are ringing, but I have to always see my guests out, so I will say thank you to everyone. I will still be here until 1 o'clock. So St. Lucia, just stay with me for a little.
I am she, I am he, I am me, I am we, mwen se nou tout. As sure as the morning sun will blanket and then engulf the hills and the valleys, I know I will persevere. I always have and I always will. Paski ala would say che, and hat is me that have that. For decades, I have awoken early. With the morning sun on my brow, I have collected my things, my tea, my cat clue and my fork. Me and my sons, my daughters, my dog and my mite, and we have walked. We have walked and we have run. We run the many miles it took to reach that place where the soil was rich, that place where we were to plant, that place where what we plant would grow. I know the smell of that earth all too well. I know the feel of that earth, for I am that earth.
Well, I'm a farmer. I've been a farmer for the longest while. I was an extension officer. The fact that I'm growing food to supply the nation, to give the people around, that alone makes me feel very good about the farming.
That fertile fortress from whose bosom we have filled our bellies. We have peddled it too. We sold it, green, golden and grand, beautiful and majestic in the midday sun. For perhaps always see, you work the land on which you are born, and that is how you grow. And grow we did. He, she, me, Nutut.
Right behind me there, where I'm sitting there, is the press. That's where after you harvest the cassava, you grit it, you press it, you put it in a bag. So you have that process, you press it. And after it is pressed, you take it to the house where you sieve it. You have a sifter where you sieve it fine, and then you put it in the caron. That's the platin. That's what we use to make the food.
Mama told me ever since when that life is neither predictable nor always rosy. So, as the green faded and the roads lay forgotten, I lifted my eyes to the east, for I still can see. I see the sea beautiful. It is purple, golden, green, fish and seamoss? Seamoss, yes. Healthy, hearty, handy, just in time too, because it will go well with my chocolate that I with my own hands learn how to make from my own cocoa. I will pursue them. I will endeavor. I will not stop, because I will persevere, and I will grow. Nutut, she, he, me, we. And all the while I keep singing. I sing and I dance too. Sometimes my middle even split. And while I have found fame in sports, I am also known for my service. So as I jump, I kick, I bat and I bowl, I protect and I serve and I teach. And yes, I am still running. I run, not just because I can, and God knows I can, but because it reminds me too that from Prowling to the Chumasi Bridge, everything in between is me. All the work is mine, all the joy is mine, and the tears, they are mine too. I still have strength, I still have pride, and although I have changed with the seasons, my essence persists, my culture resists and fights for its life. Parce que nous toutes c'est même. I am he, I am she, I am me, I am we. Now this is 2021, unprecedented, a time of uncertainty, that's understood, a time of fear and of loss, but also a time for faith. I will lean on that which we have already built. He will stand, she will rise, we, nous toutes. Petit et puis quoi? Jaune et rouge. Nous toutes ces chrétiens, we will do it. We will ride that wave, not just because we want to do it, but because we dare to do it together.
My MP said that we would have a new wellness center. Here we are. It's almost finished.
My community said we needed a new wing to our secondary school. And my MP said yes.
My sister said she needed help to find a job, so my MP created a job fair.
Our outfit said we needed better sporting facilities.
A new early childhood development center.
My neighbors said.
My sister said.
The children said.
Community said roads and a new park. And my MP said
yes.
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 Of course.
Nous toutes, c'est yon famille en Micoudnod. And nous continuons pour faire progrès avec Antigil.